I'm Sam.
And this is Gabe.
And this is Coaster Wars.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coast Wars podcast, where today we are talking about terrible wooden coasters.
Yeah! I figure me and Gabe are such Woody enthusiasts, like just on top of being coaster enthusiasts in general. We love ourselves a good Woody. We just did an episode on the Gravity Group, a amazing wooden roller coaster manufacturer. So I figure let's turn the tables a little bit and talk about some terrible Woodies that we've ridden.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's kind of a change of pace for us, too, because we always talk about there's no such thing as a bad coaster. Well, there is. And these are two very good examples of them. Now, it is very rare for us to get on a roller coaster and go, yeah, that was terrible. But in the case of both of these rides, they were one-off, one ride to maintain the credit, and that's about it, because they weren't riding. Actually, I think yours we rode twice, didn't we?
No, I still think it was just once.
For some reason, I thought we rode it twice, but I honestly couldn't remember.
Yeah, we might have just because we kind of flew through all of the coasters at that park, in all honesty. But for some reason, I really think it was only once because of how bad it was.
That is funny. Yeah, we don't do that very often, where we only ride a coaster once because it was that bad. Normally, it's just because it wasn't like good enough for us to get a re-ride on it, or it's like a busy day and we only wanted to get out re-rides on certain coasters, or blah 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 blah. It's like in this case, both these rides were like one and done.
Yeah. With that, Gabe, why don't you introduce our fighters?
Yes. In the red corner, standing at a max height of 82 feet and reaching a top speed of 56 miles per hour. Hailing from the farm fields of Canada and the in-house gym is Wilde Beast. In the blue corner, standing at a max height of 110 feet and reaching a top speed of 62 miles per hour. Hailing from the hills of St. Louis and the PTC gym, it is Screamin Eagle. Let the fight begin.
Yeah. So, see, I feel like, well, I don't know. I was gonna say mine's definitely a case that I think it actually has a decent layout. It is just way too rough to be like re-rideable at all. And even enjoyable at that point.
You know, it's kind of an interesting thing about both these Woodies, is I think it really does come down to maintenance issues, because even like the Wilde Beast at Canada's Wonderland, that coaster is almost a clone of Grizzly at King's Dominion. We talked about that in that episode. After I watched the POV, I can actually see it. There are some subtle differences. Like the second turnaround has significantly more banking than Grizzly does. And there's a few little odds and ends that are different. But like, we think Grizzly is a great Woody, and all I had to do was get retracked. So I was wonder if that would be something that could happen with Wilde Beast. And the same thing with Screamin Eagle. It's Screamin Eagle's, I think, a solid layout for a PTC. It's just so rough. Let me ask you this: between the two coasters, which one was more rough?
I think Screamin Eagle was more rough. And I say that because Wilde Beast wasn't just a roughness. That one was like, I had actual doubts about the structural integrity of that roller coaster. Like,
yeah.
It was less of roughness and more of the whole goddamn coaster was just moving.
They were rough in different ways, I guess.
Yeah.
Very different.
Oh my gosh. So which one do we want to talk about first?
I'll let you pick this time.
I want to talk about mine. This is actually, like, besides the roughness, this is actually a cool coaster, because Screamin Eagle, so this is a 1976 PTC Woody at Six Flags St. Louis. It is, in fact, the last design by John C. Allen.
You know, I was about to say that to you. This has to be a newer PTC then, which is weird to say for 1976, but
right. Exactly. Yeah. So this is the last design by John C. Allen. So this is an ACE historical landmark on our on RCDB. It has like the ACE plaque. According to the ACE plaque, it said it also was the last design of PTC, but I'm wondering if that was John C. Allen and PTC like together.
I would think it would be together, but I also know, like, obviously PTC still exists as a company, but they don't build roller coasters anymore. So
Yeah.
I wonder if after he passed away, maybe they decided not to build roller coasters anymore. Maybe it truly is their last design. I'd have to do some more research on that and see what PTC actually does in today's day and age. Like I said,
Yeah.
the company still exists. Like they still build roller coaster trains. I definitely know that. But I do know they haven't built a coaster in a very long time. So maybe that was
Yes.
something they're like, you know what? Our designer, he's gone. Let's just kind of step away from the whole roller coaster building thing. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just my assumption.
Yes. Okay. So and then on top of that, according to the Ace plaque, this is also his favorite design, which I thought was really cool.
Really? That is really cool.
Yeah. So this guy stands at 110 feet. Its top drop is 92 feet. And I say top drop because that is the third drop on this ride. The initial drop off the lift hill is only 82 feet. There is 3,872 feet of track. It reaches a top speed of 62 miles per hour. And then just a little bit on the history. This guy was built for the celebration of America's bicentennial. And at the time that it was built, of course, it was the tallest, the fastest, and the longest single track roller coaster.
Yes.
And then like a little bit of history into the maintenance on this guy. The trains were replaced in 1999 along with adding banking to the turns and removing apparently a double uphill, which I don't know where it was or anything like that. I didn't do that much research, but I'm like, I kind of wish I knew where it was.
Yeah.
And then over the 2003 to 2006 seasons, there were repairs done, including retracking, a repaint, and replacing a control panel. Now, hearing that, I'm like, I don't think they did a full retrack
There's no
because
way, right?
there is absolutely no freaking way. So it makes me think that they maybe just ironed out some trouble spots. Either that or like, holy crap, because there's no way. I mean, but at the same time, that's a 20-year difference. So,
Yeah, I mean
but
a full retrack, I highly doubt it. There's no way. I mean,
yeah.
there's definitely I will say this. There was definitely noticeable different sections on this
Okay.
roller coaster, at
Okay.
least from my one ride experience how I remember it. But there was just some spots that were just so bad with the jackhammering, just like, rolling down speed bumps as you're going down the track. So
Yeah.
there's no way this thing went under a full retract. Like you said, they probably went through and just fixed the spots that were like the absolute worst, or maybe that were starting to become a safety concern.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's no way you would know if this went through a full retract. It wouldn't be that rough. There's no
No,
way.
no. So, and then the other thing I want to talk about this guy before we get into a layout real quick is it is a very pretty coaster to look at.
I
So
will give you that. It definitely is.
yes. So because this was built for the celebration of America's bicentennial, basically what they did is they made all of the supports white. They made the handrails along the track blue, and then they made what they call the bed for the tracks red. So if you're looking at a wooden roller coaster, we've described the construction of a wooden roller coaster. Basically what they do is they layer wood together and then they put a steel strip on top of it, and that's what the trains ride on. So
Yeah.
that like stack of wood they made red, and it is actually a very pretty coaster to look at, and you can definitely tell that they did repaint it because it's not no American Eagle.
No, it does make me kind of chuckle though that like it is your traditional old gigantic wooden coaster.
Yeah.
Why did they all make them white? I don't understand. It's such a bad choice for multiple reasons. Number one, it shows every little piece of dirt and grime
Every
and wear.
single
Yeah. And then
piece.
it's like and then it starts to chip and it just looks
Mm,
horrible. Why
mm,
why was that the choice?
yep.
Why is that the route they went? I don't know. Maybe to make the
Just
coaster look bigger? I don't know.
like pause for a second here. I'm thinking of Jackrabbit at Kennywood
Yes.
is
Oh
white.
yeah.
American Eagle is
Yeah.
white. I think we've seen pictures of like the Leap to Dips oldest roller coaster in the United States. I believe it is also white.
Yes.
Why?
The Racer 75,
Yeah,
Wild One,
Wildwood is also
um,
white.
Colossus before it became Twisted Colossus was white.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like the one in Japan that became an RMC that was completely like a giant white wooden coaster before it was RMC. Like you just keep going on and on. It's just like why? Why is that the one? Why is that the color you pick?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, this thing is very pretty to look at. And the other thing we have to talk about before I get into the layout of this coaster is kind of where this coaster is situated at Six Flags St. Louis. So, Six Flags St. Louis is kind of, I don't know how to describe where the heck it's almost like situated in a bowl, and then it has like hills behind it. And this one is like up on the hill. I remember having to climb a hill to get to the station, and then it's completely surrounded by trees. Like you can't even
Yeah.
see half this coaster.
So it's in the very absolute back of the park, like basically the back lot line. So like the boss is kind of on the side of the amusement park. If for those of you who've been there and like vaguely know what I'm talking about, where like the boss is kind of like on the side of the amusement park, and then the Screamin Eagle kind of runs the very back length area, and it kind of starts way off really far away, and then the turnaround point is almost over by where the boss station is. So
Yeah.
like it is in a very weird location. You do have to climb a very, very good hill to get to where the station is. That being said, yeah, it is a kind of a neat location because you get some really good vantage points because you're at the tallest point in the amusement park, but then you also have the surrounding trees which create a really nice tunneling effect on
Mm-hmm.
this ride and just give it like a speed enhancement. Like
Yes.
it's not really going that fast, although 62 miles an hour, that's nothing to scoff at. I will say that,
No.
especially for a Woody. Um,
Yeah.
but then with the tunneling effect of the trees and stuff, it's a very unique roller coaster because of how old it is, being from 1973. The foliage has been really allowed to grow in around the coaster and really fill out the ride experience.
Oh heck yeah. Gabe totally meant 1976, not 1973, just so everybody knows.
What did I say?
You said 73. It's 76. It's 3
Oh, it's
years.
76.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
bad. Sorry.
It's fine. Let me get into a layout real quick.
Yes.
So I was watching the POV, by the way, and like since we only rode this once, I didn't remember this. It is the smallest, most minuscule little dip that brings you out of the station. Like you practically stay level, which I thought was hilarious. And that brings you out of the station into a state piece of track, and that brings you into the lift hill. Now, this lift
Yes.
hill drops you into an elevated turnaround, but it's not like most turnarounds where you go around it so slowly and then drop in. It actually like descends ever so slightly, and it has some baking on it. You actually get a tiny bit of speed on this guy before
You
you
know,
drop.
it's
Go
a
ahead.
very unique element because this is like the only true Woody I've really ever seen this on at this age group. You know what I mean? It was kind of a
Yeah.
first of its kind.
Uh-huh. I was about to say, I'm like any other old wooden roller coaster, it either drops you straight into the first drop or it's like just a crazy slow turnaround. I'm thinking of the one on Grizzly actually and
Yeah.
Wilde Beast that we're
Yep.
going to talk about. So that turnaround drops you into the first drop, and according to that ace plaque, the first drop is 82 feet, and that drops you into a pretty standard airtime hill. It's a big guy, big camelback, and at the bottom after that you have a very slight I didn't write it in here which way. It's a slight left, sorry. And you it's like a really slight quick movement. It gives you some good jerk for some laterals, and then you head into the third, holy, yeah, the third tallest drop I cannot read my own notes today, guys. I apologize. So you head into the third and tallest drop at 92 feet, and this is due to the hills that it's built into, so it can drop down further. And that sends you into two shorter, like drawn out airtime hills. I imagine that they would be good ejector if like it wasn't concentrated on so how rough this thing was. Before an elevated turnaround, which then drops you into a speed hill and then it pops back up for a like a super drawn out left turn, which then drops you back down and up into a slight right before it drops down again into a final traditional airtime hill, just straight up, straight down, and then that is up into those final breaks. Oof. So this,
It's funny. I'm watching the POV as you're describing it, and the guy in the video is just like grabbing onto the grab handle as hard as he possibly can. It is a
yes,
shorter layout than I remember. I will say that. Let's see what the footage is. Oh yeah, 3,872 feet of track. That's not terrible though. I will say
no,
that.
it's not. I think part of it is like those drawn out airtime hills. If this guy, like, day that it opened and was baby smooth, I can just imagine that you would fly over those and it gives you like a good pop and you'd be up into your restraints. And then it's just enough of a hill to like keep you sustained. And there's two of them back to back. And then it goes back up into a big airtime moment. It would be so good if this thing was just
Oh
smooth.
yeah. The one thing I will say, like how I remember it, is like the airtime moments were very memorable because there were the only smooth points on the coaster because you weren't connected to the track.
Yes.
Like you prayed for airtime on this thing just to get off the track
Oh,
just for a little bit. But those valleys, man, you'd hit the track and come down into the valley of the hills, and you're just like smash your spine, your back, everything just absolutely pounded. It was just a jackhammering machine, and that's why I'm like, there's no way they retract this thing. There's no way it'd be that
mm-mm.
rough. Either that or whoever retracted it really sucks at their job. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was
Yeah.
just a very uncomfortable ride experience. But you're totally right. The airtime moments were nothing to scoff at. Very sustained, very well profiled moments. The thing that I would say about Screaming Eagle versus like other Woodies is
Mhm.
that they're more sustained. Like a
Mhm.
traditional Woody is like more like quick, snappy, airtime pops. Even if
Yep.
they're just floater time airtime, it's still a quick moment. Where this did feel like it had a little bit more drawn out airtime, I think. It just sustained it longer, a little closer to like B&M Hyper would than a traditional Woody. I think that's really what
Yes.
stood out for this coaster for me. I just, like you said, it was just too rough. It was just too
Mhm.
rough. And we're not even talking like, oh yeah, it was just kind of rough. We're talking like, this is the roughest coaster I've ever ridden.
Yes.
Like rougher than Arrows, rougher than Hades 360, rougher than the Voyage. Like, just I think this. If you ask me what was the most rough coaster you ever rode, I think Screaming Eagle would top the list.
Yeah. I would 100% would have to agree with you. I think the this coaster, if it was just smooth, it takes really good advantage of the hills that it's built on to
Oh,
give you
absolutely.
those really good floater moments. And I think the fact that they make the third hill the biggest hill gives it a little bit more speed on that back end for those drawn out moments. And then two, those long drawn out like turnaround moments in the second half of this roller coaster, like those would be such amazing lateral G-forcey moments if you weren't focused on the like absolute splitting headache that this
Oh,
coaster was giving you.
absolutely. It is a very unique moment because like this coaster only has really like one elevator turnaround, and it's not even like a full 180. It's only a 90
Nope.
degree turn,
Mm-hmm.
and it still is taken with a decent amount of speed that you get a really good dose of laterals. The problem is you're so busy trying to keep your spine from falling out of you that it's like you don't even notice it. Like, you don't even
Yes.
notice the laterals, but in the POV you can definitely see it. It's carrying some speed around those corners, and there's like
Yes.
no banking at all.
Yep. Nope. When
So
they said
you're
they added the banking,
yeah,
I
eh,
minimal, guys.
2 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
3 degrees maybe. But no, you're absolutely right. It is a coaster that has a lot of potential. And it would be a really interesting coaster to ride when it was brand new, just to experience the full ride experience of this coaster.
Yes. So, uh, I'd say like don't skip it. Maybe
No,
hit it
bring
early.
some Advil.
Yeah.
Maybe a back brace if your back's real bad.
Yeah, as to say, but it's either one of those things where you hit it first because that's when you have the most of your stamina, or you hit it last and then head out the park.
Just leave. Just
Yep.
like, oh god, no.
Yep.
All right. The worst part is we didn't even get a ride on the Boss, which is also known to be a pretty rough coaster. So like we
Yeah,
can't even compare it to like what the Boss ride experience is. Super disappointed. I was really excited to get on that ride.
I know. It
We're gonna
looked
have to make a
cool.
point to try and get back there this year.
We might have to do a Missouri trip because I still haven't been to Silver
Yeah.
Dollar City. So,
Oh yeah. That
hmm
would be, yeah, we could do Silver Dollar City, Six Flags St. Louis, and maybe Holiday World again. Maybe.
yeah, I would never say no to that. Are you kidding?
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, this coaster, the Boss I do know is kind of a mixed bag depending on who rides it. So,
Okay, interesting.
but yeah,
Absolutely
Screaming
interesting.
Eagle, its neighbor, it has to be rougher. There's no way, right? Like, there's no
No.
way. If the Boss is rougher than Wild Eagle, it would have been torn out by now. Like,
Yeah. Oh, it would have been gone. Yeah.
yeah.
So, with that, why don't we talk about your lovely Woody
Oh,
coaster?
yeah, very lovely coaster. So this is technically an in-house build. I know it's not. So like the design, let's see if it says anything. So it does say it technically is a PTC coaster. I'm sorry, I'm reading the little plaque they have, and it's like manufactured name Wilde Beast, classification A1, manufacturer PTC, but then recommended speed is just gravity.
That's
Isn't that hilarious? Oh,
yeah.
that's so good. So yeah, I think it was technically constructed by PTC, but it is an in-house, or maybe it's the other way around. It was designed by PTC, and then it's an in-house build. I don't know. This is a very strange coaster.
I'm trying to look them up. Are you on RCDB?
I am on RCDB, and I don't think it's quite accurate.
I was gonna say because so under like
The
the actual
trains are PTC. That's what it is. I
okay,
apologize. So yes, the coaster itself is a design. It's the same people who designed Grizzly,
yeah,
but remember, Grizzly was also technically an in-house built coaster. So basically, it was designed by a company, and then Canada's Wonderland actually constructed it themselves, and then they put PTC trains on the track. Right?
yes. So
Okay.
the designer is Curtis D. Summers. That's
Yes.
like the actual person. And if you go back and listen to our episode where we talk about Grizzly, he designed Grizzly and designed Wilde Beast, and he designed it after a Coney Island ride, and it wasn't the
Yes.
Cyclone, it was something else.
The Coney Island Wildcat, because that is the only
Yes.
coaster that he's actually credited for building. So
Okay.
like when you go to his roller coasters, he has one as the builder, which is Wildcat at Lake Compounce, but what is also based off of the Coney Island Wildcat coaster.
Yes.
And
So
then
and
he's credited with designing 17 others. Surprisingly, American Eagle's on that list. Didn't know that.
oh, you know what? Now that I think about
Yeah.
it, I feel like I have heard that. Anyways.
But he did. Let's see, Wolverine. Well, he did Wolverine Wildcat at Michigan's Adventure. That's a good one.
Nice.
Wildebeest at Canada's Wonderland. We have Texas Giant. That's a very notable one. He also did the neighbor to this coaster, Mighty Canadian Mindbuster.
Dang.
So, and then yeah.
So anyways, and
Those,
we're saying based off of because these are not direct clones of the
no,
Wildcat. They're just
they're
like this.
very close. They are
Yeah.
very close in layout, but there are some subtle differences.
Okay. Anyways, getting back into the coaster.
Yes. So Wildebeest is a coaster that we rode at Canada's Wonderland that we deemed to be probably the worst coaster at the park.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
easily, actually.
And it was just so janky, and not in
Mhm.
a rough way, more in a like, it was too flexible.
Yeah.
Like the track
So
moved a lot and the train flexed with the track and it just was not comfortable.
yeah. So wooden coasters are designed a certain amount of movement by the nature of them. Like if you just like make wood as rigid as possible, it's going to break, especially with the forces that a lot of these wooden coasters produce. But like Gabe was saying, like if anyone looks at a roller coaster train, you know it has multiple cars, and you could feel like the cars moving in opposite directions, and you could like feel that movement in the floor of the car you're sitting in. And moral of the story, no other wooden coaster we've ever ridden has ever done that before, and
No,
it
that
was
was
yeah.
oh God. I mean, when the restraint is literally moving up and down as you're going down the length of the track, it just doesn't
Yeah.
feel safe. Like you
No.
don't even feel secure. And obviously, this is just a Woody. It's not gonna throw you out of the seat very aggressively, especially this one. But
Yeah.
like, it was just such a weird sensation, and it was uncomfortable because like your restraints is designed to hold you in, it starts crushing you at some points. Like starts
Yeah.
pushing down on your thighs, and then it like gets really loose, and then it pushes down again, and it's just like, no, that is not something a roller coaster train should do.
Yes.
The
So
track
we
should absolutely be flexible. The train should not.
no. No. I think we like to I think of American Eagle, and we jokingly say about that coaster how it's actually exciting because you think you might actually die on it. But that's like it's a different kind of jankiness. And it we like it you don't feel the train move or anything like that. Like that is a solid wood roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a jankiness to it that makes it fun. And then being Gabe may or may not, plausible deniability right here, do things to our restraints to make it more exciting. But we won't talk about that.
No.
So, anyways, with this one, it was like you wanted your restraint to be tight, and then it didn't stay tight, and that was very
No.
concerning.
It
Very
was very
concerning.
concerning. It was just the way that the whole train like just flexed as it rolled down the track. It was just like,
Oh,
this is not a safe roller coaster. Why are
no.
we riding this right now? I will say this, it was very thrilling
Right?
for all the wrong reasons. But
Yes. I think the other thing too is we were not impressed with any of the Woodies at Canada's Wonderland.
well, there's three there. So
Okay.
like there's this one, which is kind of like the middle one. Then you have the Mighty Canadian Mindbuster, which is supposed to be like their top of the line Woody.
Yeah.
And it wasn't open. So we watched a test all day and it just
Oh,
never opened, remember?
yeah. I
And then the
totally
third
forgot
one
about
is
that.
Ghoster Coaster, which funny enough, I believe is also from the same designer.
I think you might be right, Gabe. Do you
That
want me
would
to
be
look it up real quick?
just give me 2 minutes here. Yeah, Curtis D. Summers. Let's go back to his designed roller coasters. Yeah, Ghoster Coaster is also on that list.
Yeah.
Here's this funny thing. He also did Mean Streak at Cedar Point. Huh.
Dang.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ghoster Coaster is just like a family coaster. It's not a thrill coaster, which I actually thought was better than
Hmm.
Wilde
Yeah.
Beast, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I thought it was more fun, at least. It was definitely more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, no.
Mm,
Canadian Wonderland is a very mixed bag of roller coasters. And to
yeah.
say this is the worst one at that park is a statement,
Yeah.
considering they have an Arrow Looper, they have a Vekoma SLC with the old trains,
Ugh.
they have a Vekoma Hang and Bang, they have, they have a lot of like subpar roller coasters, and
Hmm.
this was the worst of all of them.
Yeah. Is it
So
Hanging
that's,
Bang Vortex?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, Vortex was awesome though, so don't even say
It
that.
was, but I know, but it is technically a Vekoma Hang and Bang, like that's what
Yes.
it is. No, Vortex.
Well, never mind.
No, 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 no. Vortex is an Arrow suspended coaster. Sorry, no, I take that back.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. That's a different manufacturer. No, the Vekoma Hang and Bang. Let's see. Let's go to Canada's. How do you spell Canada? There we go. There's a lot of A's in Canada. Um, let's see. So
Hold
yeah,
on a
you
second,
have
guys.
Yukon Striker. That was good. Wonder Wildebeest, Vortex, Thunder Run, Taxi Jam. That's a Kitty Coaster. Kitty Coaster. Silver Streak. No, Silver Streak is the Vekoma Hang and Bang.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Vekoma suspended family coaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does have the newer trains. No, it does not. So it does
Okay.
have the shitty restraints where you hit your head on the restraint.
Okay.
But yeah,
Anyways.
so that's the Vekoma Hanging Bang. So like to go through Canada Wonderland's lineup, you have Alpine Fury, which you didn't get to ride. Backless Stunt Coaster, good. They have a ride called the Bat, which is just a wild mouse. I don't
Yep.
who named that coaster. And why are you so wrong? Like, I just don't understand. Then you have Behemoth, which is their BM Hyper. Then you have Daredeviler. So it used to be called Top Gun. Then it was called Flight Deck. So we wrote it as Flight Deck. It is now getting the trains from the SLC at Six Flags America.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so they're getting the train upgrade. They're doing like a little rebrand. They're calling it Daredeviler.
Okay.
So that's the Vekoma SLC. So that should actually improve. Then they have Dragonfire, which is their arrow looper.
Mm-hmm.
They have a coaster called Fly, which is wait. Oh no, Bat was actually I take that back. Bat is the why do they have so many animal names? Anyway, Bat is the Vekoma shuttle coaster.
Oh, okay.
The
Boomerang.
boomerang, yes. Fly is the wild mouse, which you're still wrong. You're
It's
still
still
incorrect.
wrong. Yep.
Then you have Leviathan, Mighty Canadian Mindbuster, Silver Streak. You have Taxi Jam, which is a family coaster. You have Thunder Run, which is a motorized mine train thing.
Yep.
And then Vortex is the air suspended coaster. So, like, yeah, Wildebeest, you suck. You're the worst coaster at Canada's Wonderland. Like, honestly. Even over the family coasters, you're just so bad.
Yeah, literally, actually. So,
But with that,
but
let me dive into a layout really, really quick.
yeah, after that huge sidetrack, sorry guys.
Yeah, we're doing a great job here. So this coaster starts with a turn out of the station, which goes into a long piece of straight track because you travel past the storage shed for the trains.
Yay.
This then sends you up the lift hill. When you get to the top of the lift hill, you have a subtle turn. A turn to the left, which sends you down the first drop. You then pop up into a large left turn, which is your elevated turnaround. And when I say this coaster goes very slow through it, I'm talking like 5 miles an hour, just
Yeah.
painfully crawling.
I will say
After
this. Someone did the math and went, how big can we make this turnaround, but make sure it doesn't go backwards.
For real. So then after that, you drop off that drop and you dive down into a airtime hill. I'd call it kind of like an in-between. It's not really a speed hill, but it's not really like a large camelback. It's just like a very traditionally shaped airtime hill. You then dive into a banked right turn, very subtly banked. You have another quick rapid fire speed hill, and then this sends you up into the second elevated turnaround. However, this coaster has, or this turnaround has like a lot more elevation change. So you start to turn closer to the ground, and as you continue through the turn, you go up in elevation until you hit the halfway point, and then as you're continuing your 180-degree turn, you then descend back towards the ground. This definitely has a lot more banking than the one on Grizzly though. Like the one on Grizzly is very flat and delivers
Yeah.
laterals, where
Yep.
this doesn't really do anything.
Yep.
It just kind of exists.
Yep.
You then pop up into another airtime hill with a subtle turn to the left before diving back towards the ground. You then have a banked left turn with an airtime hill, like kind of like in it. It's a very interesting element. I will give it that. You then pop up into another elevated turnaround. This one is like a third of the size of the first one, but it's also on the inside of the first one. So you get a nice little like wooden structure wall. It creates kind of like a nice little effect there. And you do travel with some more speed through it, so it's not as painstakingly slow as the first one. You then drop off that and pop up into another traditional airtime hill. Before diving back towards the ground, you hit one more kind of like speed-esque airtime hill that suddenly turns you to the right, and then you pop up into the final breaks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Wilde Beast. It's a very simple layout. It is very similar to Grizzly, but it's very different. So like the biggest difference is the elevator turnaround. The first one is so much slower than
Mhm.
Grizzlies, which is crazy because they're almost the same size.
Yeah.
And then the second kind of like turnaround esque element features a lot more banking, which ruins like the lateral effects that it has on Grizzly. I
Mhm.
wonder if that's a moment they reprofiled.
Probably at
I
that
would think
point.
so, just to make it more of a lateral-esque moment. And then this coaster overall features a lot more banking than Grizzly, so it just lacks the lateral forces that Grizzly has.
Yes. So, another thing I'd like to talk about with both of these coasters, and me and Gabe have mentioned this numerous times, but when a coaster is more rough, it also inevitably slows down
Yes,
that roller coaster.
definitely.
So I'm like, so with Screamin' Eagle, it already kind of felt like an out of control experience, especially with the roughness. I can't imagine how much harder the forces on that ride would hit you in the face if it was smooth and you were moving just that like small bit
Yeah.
faster.
Like, it
And
still has airtime where, like,
no,
Wildebeest does not. It
no.
does not. I mean, it has a couple small moments where it's more like just hitting a speed bump hard enough to throw you out of your seat, but, like, it's not really an airtime machine by any means, where
No.
Screaming Eagle still does deliver some airtime forces even with as rough as it is.
Yes. I think that's the problem with Wildebeest too, is that with Screaming Eagle, we kind of see the potential that's there. With
Yeah.
Wildebeest, we're like, it's not even the greatest layout, and they've kind of ruined some of the better moments with that banking. Even that like one turnaround where it like elevates and then develevates, like it's like if it carried some better speed through there, it would be cooler. But like even if it was faster, I don't even think that it would do that much
Yeah,
because
but
the
I
banking.
I mean, obviously, though, they could come in and reprofile it. They proved they could do it
Yeah,
with Grizzly and turn
that's a
Grizzly
good
into a
point.
really good Woody. So there is potential there, but I would say Wildebeest would probably require some more reprofiling than Screaming
Yeah.
Eagle would.
Yes.
But there
So
is, I mean, it could be a really good Woody. It really could.
you just gotta put a little bit of love into it, Canada's
Yeah.
Wonderland.
I do know right now they're retracking Mighty Canadian Mindbuster, so maybe in the future
Ah,
this coaster is
okay.
on the list.
Okay.
But obviously Canadian Mindbuster is like their top tier Woody and
Yeah.
a lot more popular. So I
Yeah.
can understand why they decided to invest money in that coaster first.
Okay. See, that's the thing I have to keep reminding myself is I forgot that we never got to ride that. So like,
Yeah, I know. That's another like we have to go back for that, and then obviously Alpine Fury. So that's
yeah.
another amusement park we have to get back to.
Hmm. So with this one, I keep forgetting how we do our terrible ones. Do we pick which one we think is worse?
I would say yes.
Okay.
So the winner
I
is actually the loser in this one.
Okay. I would pick Wildebeest is the more
Yes.
terrible one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think
Okay.
there's more potential with Screaming Eagle. I
Yes.
also liked where the location of Screaming Eagle is. That is a huge advantage that that coaster has over Wildebeest, which is just basically built in a field.
Yeah.
So like, I think definitely just terrain wise, Screaming Eagle wins, even if you take
Hmm.
the layout of it. So like, I will say this: both these coasters could potentially become great Woodies in the future if they're properly addressed.
Yes.
But as of right now, I feel like Screaming Eagle would have more potential as well.
I agree with you. I think Screaming Eagle also, I mean, you know what? Actually, they both kind of have history.
They
So
do, yeah.
yeah. So either one, I feel like it would be a good investment on either park's behalf to put money into them.
Yes,
We
definitely.
can hopefully, fingers crossed, hope for that maybe just a little bit, but we'll see what comes with these guys.
Yeah.
With our schedule going forward, are
Yes,
we
I
doing
fixed it. I adjusted it. So
okay?
what the schedule is what it is now.
Okay.
Unless we missed a
So
week because we suck at recording. Uh
yeah. It's just us guys, and going into the end of the season, and Gabe's got life stuff going on, and I had a little bit of life stuff going on. It was a hullabaloo and a half. Okay,
Yes, it
guys,
was.
I do apologize. So, but our next episode is going to be a listener episode. Technically, this is a question everything episode, but we're questioning me. So, if anybody
Yes.
is new here and doesn't know what the hell this kind of episode is, in previous seasons, I came up with questions and I quizzed Gabe on his roller coaster knowledge, and he had to kind of BS his way through the episode. And we had a listener suggest that we do the same thing, but question me. Now, I am not as good as Gabe at BSing, so I might cheat and ask him to explain if I don't know what something is. But the whole point is that I'm not allowed to look anything up. I just have to use my own knowledge, and we're doing it on roller coaster lingo, so hopefully I'll know some stuff. I can't guarantee anything.
We are we'll give you one phone a friend.
One phone a friend? Okay.
Use it wisely.
Oh gosh. Oh my god, this is gonna be just tune in for a complete train wreck for that episode.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I could even come up with questions, we'll just show up and I'll just wing it.
That sounds like you. No doubt. Anyways, moving into our next couple battles episodes. Our next one is Beyond Vertical Drops, which that's going to be a fun episode. And
yes. Oh, yes. Very, very good episode.
I think it's funny that Gabe's actually has a steeper drop than mine does. So that's fun.
Yeah, I won that.
And then the next episode is coasters that only have one moment.
You know,
and
I saw the coaster you put in there, and I'm like, they're literally the same coaster. I mean, they're not. They're not, but like, they're so similar. It's actually hilarious that we found coasters that similar to each other for once.
That's actually crazy. You know what? And I haven't been on yours in forever. I'm gonna have to look up a POV, like, because it's been a hot second.
Yeah, I'll have to put in there too what moment I'm talking about. Okay. And then I think I know what yours is, but just put that in there too, so we know what we're talking about.
Okay. And then we are coming up on our season finales, guys.
But a very exciting 2-part episode that we teased for basically the entire season last year, and then just said, actually, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. So this is a Coasters 101 on the namesake of our podcast, the Coaster Wars. It's about daytime. We actually went fully into this. We've mentioned it so many times.
It has been mentioned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Gabe's the cult leader of Magnum, and that's the guy that started the whole thing. So we've mentioned it a lot. But that is going to be a 2-part series, and we'll probably be making each episode at least an hour long. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to dive into both sides of things because and we also touched on this a lot with our Son of Beast 2-part episode that we did last year, right?
Yeah.
There is the wooden side of things, and we'll kind of just, I think we'll just do a brief overview just because we covered it so much, but then we'll go into obviously Magnum and basically what that took off from there. Yeah. And it'll just be a really good way to end the season, and give you guys a real deep dive into all of the roller coasters that we talk about on this podcast are because of the Coaster Wars. That's why we named our podcast after it. So it is a big deal for us to actually cover this topic. And I think those 2 episodes are going to be very probably our 2 best episodes we've ever done. Hopefully.
Yeah. We're going to be really into the topic, and I think that this is going to make us want to not only do justice to this, but just be really excited to talk about said topic as well.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. With that, everybody, thank you so much for listening this week to Terrible Woodies, and join us next week for my train wreck of a Question Everything episode.
And we hope you all have a great day.